Howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to a new episode. I must say this episode will look relatively fast, because this episode contains basically the build-up to war, the gearing up of Germany to the next conflict. And I again confess I had to record this episode multiple times because let's say 3 times, because in the first attempt I made some quite a high number of mistakes. In the second attempt, somehow Finland during the Winter War joined the Allies, and this brought the Soviet Union at war with the Allies, and in the end there was just a huge stalemate on the Eastern Front by the time I declared Operation Barbarossa. And in my third attempt I decided to help Italy with the war in North Africa, and well, it ended up in a complete disaster for both Germany and Italy. And also in my previous past failed attempts I did some mistakes in managing my air force, and I hope this time I say everything will go according to my plans. So the gear up for war, I don't know if you will manage to grasp basically all what I did, but the essential strategy for Germany is in 1936 I focused mainly on building up military factories. In 1937 I improved, and I think I kept building military factories. In 1938 I spammed a lot of synthetic rubber refineries, and between 1938 and 1939 I just improved some local infrastructures, and I focused a lot on silos as well as steel mills and heavy industries and placements. Yeah. And concerning research, now you can see the let's say the Spanish Civil War. Okay, so let's briefly talk about it. As you may have seen early in the game, I did some changes to the order of focuses that I decided to take, and I took the Wehrmacht, because the Wehrmacht focus allowed me to get this 2020 army experience bonus, which was very nice to reshape the Wachttruppen unit, the Großdeutschland division. And I made this division just one militia battalion, strong division, and then I just spammed 72 of them. And because of the in-game mechanics, if you have a lot of units you can send more volunteers to Spain, and by having 120, I think they were, divisions, I was allowed to send 4 divisions, 4 Panzer divisions. I converted the cavalry division into the 4th Panzer division, and I just allowed the more recent Panzer IIs to be part of the equipment of these new divisions. I did send some air volunteers to Spain to basically speed up things, and with a lot of micromanagement I can spoiler it that I managed to conclude the Spanish Civil War by, I think, was mid-1937. The goal with the Panzer divisions was just, so the trick with the Panzer divisions was just to perform small pockets and circle enemy units, surround them, annihilate them, and redeploy, rinse, and repeat. I really sniped for the enemy victory points, the big cities that look like now with the star inside the big square, because those were I would say the major victory point, the so-called capital of the Republicans. And interestingly, I think that the Spanish Civil War went on so fast that even when the anarchist uprising event triggered, there was basically no anarchist uprising at all, because I was so fast that the Spanish Civil War ended I think exactly in late March 1937. Yeah. So concerning research, you can see that I decided to leave most of my time, the research slot, open, just so that you could see what was going on. And at the beginning of the game I instead of going with the strategic bombing doctrine, I decided to stay loyal to the ground battle, the ground support doctrine style, because I realized there is a focus that allows you to get 40% speed bonus on this doctrine, and as I said, okay, let's stick to this. And in terms of research, at the beginning I focused mainly on developing the industry, and my goal was to have all the to develop the so-called military factories, to reduce the production cost of basically all the air and ground equipment, so tanks, uniforms, twin engine planes, and so on and so forth. And I decided to focus on both branches of the artillery, because this would have will allow me to research the medium assault guns, and assault guns is what I would like to have in my Panzer divisions. I focused a lot on the logistical companies to reduce obviously the supply consumption, as well as in the let's say construction field. I focused a lot on developing the three let's say research slots that allows me to increase a bit global manpower, research speed, and attrition reduction, and yeah, something else. I focused very early, as you may have seen, on the Anschluss, because I calculated that the AI would have needed roughly 1.5 years to complete the focuses to get all the maximum constructions and factories available. And otherwise, in terms of research, I also focused on, yeah, as always, as the goal of this campaign is, I focused on developing a large air force, and I also made some small variants to my planes, mainly by improving the engine and a bit of the range and the reliability to make those planes last longer during training. And yeah, so as I said, in 1938 I decided to spam the synthetic rubber factories, just because, as I'm planning to go in again in the how it's called, the economy law limited exports, I think it was. Yeah, I don't remember it, but yeah, so I do not want to be dependent on rubber from the Allies, because yeah, for obvious reasons. And also in terms of importing resources, at the beginning of the game, Romania, I think, will go on close closed market or something like that, so it will basically do not export anything. So I focused mainly on Venezuela in terms of oil, while in terms of rubber I decided to import it from the French Indochina first, and then from Siam, because French Indochina will inevitably go to the Japanese. So I thought maybe by giving some extra factories I could speed up their development, and Siam, because hopefully Siam will join the Axis. So it was all part of my strategy to annihilate the Allies. And as always, for every division and air wings that I decided to deploy, I wanted to train them to the maximum before going to any offensive operation. And yeah, in 1938 I annexed Czechoslovakia, and this granted me some extra divisions, even though I personally do not like using the Czech tanks, because I think they are a bit weak. And as you may have seen quickly, I converted them to the canonical 1937 Panzer Division. Concerning tanks, yeah, I forgot about it. I decided to research both lines of the Panzer III and Panzer IV, because I think that they have a good combination between soft and hard attack. If you compare the stats, basically the Panzer III line has a higher hard attack and a higher, I think, piercing, while the Panzer IV line has a higher soft attack. And I thought, yeah, why not? Let's just combine these two tanks into my Panzer divisions. And additionally, by developing the Panzer III line, I could improve my assault guns, while developing the Panzer IV line will allow me to develop self-propelled artillery, anti-aircraft, and medium tank destroyers, because this is what I really would like to have in my Panzer divisions. You may have seen that I skipped completely the motorized divisions in this build-up, because it's true, on one hand I accumulated quite enough lorries, on the other hand I decided to go with the mass motorization technology. That in turn increases by a lot the number of lorries that every division needs, and I decided to focus exclusively on the Panzer divisions. The Panzer divisions will be will form the spearhead of the German advance, I would say basically everywhere. And at some point I noticed a huge lag in the game around late 1938. I have no idea why. For a moment I thought it was my fault, because I thought I had way too many divisions deployed on the map, and I thought, okay, this is something going on, but really I have no idea what happened, and this is why the recording of this episode took such a long time for me. At some point I noticed that Japan did have quite a few issues in China. I've never seen that, so I don't know how things will develop. And yeah, so by early 1939 I reorganized my army into four armies containing each 24 infantry divisions. I have a garrison army located along the French border, consisting of 20 garrison divisions that will need to be improved in terms of TOE, and I still have 14 infantry divisions in reserve. Maybe I will expand this army with 10 more infantry divisions. I still don't know what I will do, because when I converted the 72, let's say, militia divisions into proper infantry divisions, I realized, okay, maybe 72 were a bit too much, because I almost ran out of basically everything. And I think that this build-up, and of course the endless micromanagement between reassigning factories to one production line, from one production line to the other, I would say saved my production of equipment. And I must confess, I really managed on the nick of time to have barely enough equipment to support all the divisions in the field. I must say, those 14 infantry divisions held in reserve, I converted them into a new template called low priority infantry divisions, and basically, yeah, they will not be reinforced, and I mean they will be reinforced, but just with the lowest priority. I did expand significantly my air force. I did not check precisely how many, let's say, thousands of men were now in my big Luftwaffe. For sure I have, if I'm not mistaken, 500 strategic bombers, and the plan is to double this before the battle of double this number before the Battle of Britain begins. I do have roughly 4,000 fighters, 2,500 held in reserve, and 1,500 already deployed. I do have roughly 700 light bombers, 200 close air supports, and 300 heavy fighters. And yeah, I think that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you very much for supporting my channel, and see you all very, very soon.